Hello, myself Bhargav, pursuing graduation Department of Political Science from Patna University. The topic that I am going to talk today is literature depicting the times of crisis. This topic is very much relatable in today's concern also, but before we talk about the depiction of crisis by the very important aspect of literature, we need to know what actually literature is. While literature is something that deciphers the inert feelings and the very circumstances and situations going on around, that can be in any format. Basically, we talk about literature that has its perseverance from poetry, prose, and very other aspects also in terms of writing, in terms of very other formats. But when we are talking about literature here, then we should also be concerned that literature is one medium through which we communicate our ideas. We get to know the historical, the ethical, and all forms of formats that we actually need to get access to. Talking about the crisis, literature has a great relevance when it is termed in terms of deciphering the very immense and important aspects of various crises that has happened since long times and longer period of times. In this aspect, I would like to talk about W.H. Audens, who wrote poem in 1939, and that poem was basically based on world war agendas, and that can be taken in relevance even today's manner. When we talk about media reports, when we talk about various important proses, various important stories, various important novels, we get to know these are fictitious or non-fictitious in character, but these actually depict the very verge of level of thinking or circumstances that people are going on with. The next important part that I would like to get everyone access to is literature has an immense part in and contribution in depicting the very important crises, so-called the SARS crisis, World War. That can be political crisis, economic crisis, social crisis. In all these crises, literature plays an important role to manage the consequences of that situation, and that is what actually makes up to be a historical aspect we get in today's aspect too. Now, United Nation educational institutions have also got towards this point. Basically, when we talk about the organizations such as UNESCO, the UNESCO has it has declared a body of literature, and that has been included in UNESCO's depiction of memories, okay, that registers the very important aspects in forms of documentary heritage, in which all the various aspects have been prescribed in a very eminent way. It has been written, and now it works like written archives. Basically, when we talk about the songs of Rabindranath Tagore, when we talk about Qazi Nazirullah Islam, who have basically talked about the patriotic aspect, okay, so these aspects have all got through the sense of literature. We know it through the sense of literature that we are actually reading in today's time. It has become a historical part, but it has also led us to depict these important aspects in this consideration. Basically, when we talk about human considerations, the way of thinking, that can be psychological, that can be social, political, economic dimensions. In all these dimensions or dominions, literature has played a very vital role in their depictions. We can talk about the crisis management during the times of SARS, during the times of West Bengal plague. We know it that it is only through the literature that we have got to know about these various crises. So even though when we are looking towards it, it is only literature that is playing an important role in present crisis too, in order of anything that we know in terms of report, in terms of poems, in terms of prose, in terms of stories, of various incidents happening all around the world. The important aspect we need to know is the varying spectrums, okay, of human emotions. That is what we get access, and the motivations, the innumerable context of humans. We get the accessibility towards the readings and depictions of these values through literature only. It also adds us towards the spiritual, towards the emotional, right? It takes us to these rides of spiritual, emotional, and draws an important and rudiment lines of these depictions, and learning from these literary texts that can be in any format. So this was the basic regarding the literature context that I wanted to mention, and these all things which have been mentioned are very much important in terms of taking to the relevance and importance, how intrinsically essential is literature in day-to-day life towards all the individuals and the human culture and the growth and development of human civilization. Thank you.